A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media, bringing you another RPG review. Today I am actually looking at Spelljammer Adventures in Space. This is the latest kind of campaign setting released for 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. Although it is not an original one, the original Spelljammer came out for 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons back in, I believe, 1989, possibly 1990. At the time that Spelljammer did come out, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons 2nd edition, and I didn't really have an interest in it. It was Dungeons and Dragons in space, and I really didn't think at the time that sounded really any good. In hindsight, it was actually pretty awesome, I must admit. However, when they announced they were re-releasing Spelljammer, I was meh, like, I don't really fucking care. Why did I purchase this? Because I've got OCD when it comes to 5th edition shit, and I just thought, fuck it, I might as well complete the collection. Now, what is my opinion on this? Straight up, I'm just going to say there's a few good things in here, but most of it is pretty blasé. Let's have a look. It comes in this box. We get 3 books and a Dungeon Master screen. So let's check these out one at a time. Okay. The Dungeon Master screen, of course, has all the tables and stuff, and then when you flip it over, it's got this beautiful kind of artwork here. Personally, I really don't give a shit about this. I play all my RPGs now over Zoom, online. Dungeon Master screen doesn't mean diddly shit to me, so, I mean, it's cool if this is your thing, you're playing as a group. That's fine. It's nice, sturdy material, but yeah, I don't really care all that much about it. I'll just put that off to one side. I'm not going to get rid of it. I mean, the picture is fantastic. The art is amazing. But there you go. All right, the next book. If I can get it out here. Let's just put you off to the side there. Is the Astral Adventurer's Guide. Now, this is where we get our new races, we get information on ships, and all of that stuff. It's pretty thin, which leads me to believe that there is a lot that they left out. How to use this book, terminology, astral campaigns. So basically, what they're kind of hinting at or going for is that the characters can get these magical ships and sail through the astral plane to different realms. So you can have characters from the Forgotten Realms landing in Kryn in the Dragonlance setting, or Oath for the Greyhawk setting, or Mystara, or Eberron, or wherever you want. It's just a way to kind of connect everything and to have this new, fun kind of astral plane ocean on which to adventure in. I'm oversimplifying this, of course, but I do like the idea of the astral plane itself. Apparently, there are places where, like, dead gods, their bodies float through the astral plane, and you can land on them and all of this kind of stuff. I always imagined. I'm gonna go completely off topic here for 1 second, but just fucking bear with me because I'm the one making the fucking video. In the Finder's Stone trilogy of novels, Azure Bonds, The Werven Spur, and Song of the Sorials, It deals with this god called Moanda, who is the god of rot and decay. And of course, the god is a dead god now in the in the lore and the mythology in the canon. But I always love the idea of having an adventure where the players are in the astral plane and they have to go onto the body of Moanda, and there's like shambling mounds and vegapygmies and shit like that, all kind of living in the body of this dead god. It's just something that kind of really gets my attention, but maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. Anyway, I'm way off topic here. So we have character options. We've got some new backgrounds: the Astral Drifter, Wild Spacer. We have new races. This is always exciting when Wizards of the Coast brings out new races. Are they going to be any good? Are they going to be worthwhile? Are they going to be overpowered? So, let's check out these new races, shall we? Astral Elves. Okay, fair enough. Auto Gnome. Little, like, robot gnomes. Pretty cool. I like that idea. The GIF. Hippopotamus men that use muskets and shit like that. The GIF always intrigued me. I like the idea of them. I'm not a particularly huge fan of firearms in my fantasy games. I'm not against it. I know a lot of fantasy novels do have like black powder weapons and shit like that, but I think this is a great addition. I'm glad that they brought it in. The Hadozi. Oh, now we're hitting controversial territory here. In the digital version of this book, Wizards of the Coast actually took out a couple of paragraphs because people complained that having like gliding monkey people, the wizard that created them were going to use them as soldiers and slaves. Oh, was too much. Oh, we can't have that. We're pissing off one or two people in the world. Hey, fair enough. If you don't like the idea of them, don't use them in your fucking game. Simple as that. But Wizards of the Coast bowed to pressure. I disagree that they should have done that, but that's just my opinion. Everyone is entitled to theirs. These are like gliding monkey people, which is kind of fun. Plasmoid. You're a blob. You can shape yourself into the form of a person with one arm or two arms and one leg or two legs. But you're a blob. I don't know. In my opinion, that's just fucking stupid. Thri-kreen as a playable race of like praying mantis people. This is cool. They were always monsters. Then when Dark Sun was released, they became a playable race in Dark Sun. Now we've got them as a playable race in 5th edition. I fucking love this idea. I've got to admit, really cool. Okay, astral adventuring. How does spelljamming work? So basically, this is how are the ships controlled and what do you do? There's air and gravity around the ships and all of that stuff. You've got the astral plane, how it all fits together. Some new magic items, new spells, ship-to-ship combat. This is where I think they really dropped the ball on this product. You don't get enough information on ship-to-ship combat. I guess you could go back and look at the old 2nd edition stuff. You can get it on Drive-Thru RPG. They probably have it in more detail, but why should you have to fucking do that? This is 5th edition, Dungeons & Dragons. You just want it all in one book, and they don't really go into much detail there. Then you get a whole lot of different ships with maps of them. Now, this is really cool. So you've got the Bombard, the Damselfly ship, Flying Fish, the Hammerhead, Lamprey, the Living Ship, Nautiloid, Night Spider, Scorpion Ship, Shrike, Space Galleon, Squid Ship, Star Moth, Turtle Ship, Tyrant Ship, like for the Beholders and stuff. Each ship, Wasp Ship. Each ship is kind of keyed and geared towards a certain race or a certain type of creature. But really, it's up to your imagination as to what you want your players to do. And then we have a base of operations, the Rock of Braal, which is like a giant city. And then we have a map of it in the back of the book. So that is the Astral Adventurer's Guide. Next up, we have the Light of Zarixis. Okay, this is a rollicking space adventure, apparently. So, all this is a just like an adventure mini campaign to get your players into the worlds of Spelljammer. Astral elves are attacking whatever world your players are on, and they kind of it kind of goes from there. The beginning of this seems to be very similar to Baldurs Gate 3 from what I've seen. I've never played the game. But if you watch the trailer for Baldurs Gate 3, you'll see like a Nautiloid Mind Flayer ship crashing into Baldur's Gate from the heavens, and that kind of is the whole Spelljammer kind of thing. It's pretty good. A lot of these 5th edition adventures are written very, very well. I have no complaints about this. It sounds fun. You can incorporate a lot of this stuff into your own games. Now we get to the final book, Boo's Astral Menagerie. Who the fuck is Boo, you might be asking yourselves? Well, Boo is a space hamster. What the fuck is a space hamster, you might be asking yourselves? It's exactly what it fucking sounds like. Boo made his first appearance in the original Baldur's Gate video game, one of the fucking greatest RPG video games ever made, Baldur's Gate 2. If you haven't played these games, they're older now. The graphics aren't that good. But, oh my God, you are doing yourself a disservice if you haven't sat down and actually played the Baldur's Gate video games. They are among my absolute favorite RPG games of all time. The story is phenomenal. The gameplay is fantastic. They went on to make an Icewind Dale series of games using the same kind of engine. I couldn't really get into those as much as I got into the Baldur's Gate series of video games. Don't read the novel that they wrote based on the video games. It's not very good, in my opinion. But man, those games are just phenomenal when you start in Candlekeep and then you head like up and down the Sword Coast and then you get to Baldur's Gate, and It's just crazy. Anyway, Boo was the companion of one of the NPCs that you meet along the way, a ranger called Minsk. And Minsk was certifiably fucking crazy, but he had a so-called space hamster companion, and that was Boo. Minsk went on to be one of the most beloved characters from that game. Just the interactions with him are absolutely hilarious. And so now Boo has been brought into the 5th edition canon. This is a book of monsters. I always love these. There's Boo right there, the space hamster. Now there are some old monsters and some new monsters in this thing. We've got our regular tables. We've got our Artux. Of course, Astral Elves. The Autognome. Braxit. A lot of these actually come from Dark Sun, if I'm not mistaken. So that gives me hope that they're going to revive the Dark Sun setting. I really hope they do. I love Dark Sun. Brog. Cosmic Horror. Okay, now we're getting fucking stupid. The Dowar are merchants that are basically space penguins. I don't even fucking know anymore. Eyemonger. Fear. The Gif. I love me some hippopotamuses. Githyanki. It's interesting that they have the Githyanki in here and not the Githzeri. But, okay. Hadozis. Jamaleech. Kindori. Lunar Dragons. Pretty cool. Megapede. Mercane. A Murder Comet. That just sounds fucking awesome. I got nothing else to say about that. The Nyogi, I'm glad they brought these puppies back. The last time I saw Nyogi was in the supplement about aberrations from 3rd edition Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm really happy they brought them back. They're pretty cool. Plasmoids, let's just move on. Surlons. Rhaegar. The art, of course, always fantastic. Solar dragons. So we have lunar dragons and solar dragons. Okay, space clowns. Yeah, I think this is just someone at Wizards of the Coast really loved the 80s film Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and that's what we have there. I have nothing against space clowns because I fucking love that movie, Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Top notch. Recommend it highly. Space hamsters. Okay, we have a giant space hamster and a regular space hamster. Yes, space hamsters are now a thing in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. How do I feel about this? I think it's fucking hilarious. I love it. Space hamsters, come on. We also have space swine, so flying pigs. All right. Saurons, Starlight Apparition, Thrycreen. Absolutely love the Thrycreen. Vampirates. Now they're just taking the fucking piss. I swear to God, now they're just taking the piss. And Zodar, and that is Boo's Astral Menagerie. Light of Zarixis. Astral Adventurer's Guide. And of course, the Dungeon Master's Guide. This is all that you get in Spelljammer Adventures in Space. Okay, final thoughts. Do I think I wasted my money buying this? Yes, I do. This is among my least favorite 5th edition supplements that have been released. My least favorite, of course, being Acquisitions Incorporated, just because I don't like that style of humor in my Dungeons and Dragons games. Are there things that I would incorporate from Spelljammer into 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons? Of course. There are some phenomenal ideas in here, but that's all they are. They're ideas. You have to work to get them into your game. And maybe some of you like that, which is fine. But for me, you're sifting through too much shit to get to the good stuff. And so I don't really like that when it comes to Spelljammer. Not a huge fan of like taking my characters into space. I'm more of a dungeon crawler sort of person. But, you know, there's some stuff in here that is really, really awesome. The new races, like some of the new races are phenomenal that you can definitely incorporate in. The monsters are great. Who doesn't like, you know, a new bestiary when it comes to your fantasy games? I love the idea of the different types of ships. I'm sure that there is some way to incorporate that into a regular Dungeons and Dragons game set on one realm. But overall, it is what it is. Am I going to tell you not to buy it? Certainly not. There's stuff in here that, as I said, is fucking great. But it's ultimately up to you to decide whether or not you want this kind of stuff in your games or not. That is Spelljammer Adventures in Space for 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. If you enjoyed the video, like, subscribe, hit the notification button. Please go and check out our Plaguelands Media Kickstarter. There will be a link in the description below for that. But most importantly, stay safe and have a fantastic rest of your day.